Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a bit more of a positive West End Imp show, episode number 4. We're back after last night's 2-1 win over Oxford United. I'm joined, as ever, by co-host Mr. Chris Conrath. Chris, you're on holiday.
Hello.
Tell us a little bit about how it's going.
It's great, yeah. I'm just in some woods in the Lake District. We've just been for a walk. I've just been into a little waterfall pool for a bit of cold water swimming. And we had it on the old iFollow last night, and it was bedlam round at the apartment we're staying in.
Yeah, massively appreciate you taking your time out of your holiday to film this. As you can tell, I'm being dragged in at work, so it's a bit of a nightmare, but we're looking to get this out for you on Wednesday. Right, Chris, talking of team selection, when the team first came out, I was a little bit worried in the fact that Carl Rushworth wasn't starting in between the sticks. That's no criticism on Jordan Wright. I think Jordan Wright's a fantastic goalkeeper, done really well towards the back end of the year. But Carl Rushworth already feels like a massive element of this side already so far, and not even that far into the season. What were your thoughts on team selection?
Pretty much agree, actually, Jake. I think we messaged as you were going down to Oxford last night, didn't we, saying, where's Rushworth? Again, I'd agree completely. Jordan Wright's done nothing to say that he shouldn't be in the team, but Rushworth has made himself number one, hasn't he? He's been fantastic the opening few games of the season. But having said that, I thought Jordan Wright had a great game last night. So it's great that we've got two keepers that are going to hopefully push each other to get the best out of each other. And it's great that we can rely on Jordan whenever we're going to need to, because I thought he had a really good game. He was really commanding. Couple of good saves, couple of good punches away, couple of good catches. He's a big fellow. He's a lot taller than Rushworth in that goal, isn't he? And no chance with the penalty. But team selection was, other than that, I think it was pretty much as expected, I guess.
Ben House in midfield. Ben House in midfield.
I think that was the other one for us. We were like, I was really pleased to see him in there. I think Oatley Booth has yet to do enough for me to be claiming a starting spot, week in, week out. And I thought Ben House, I think he did himself justice, really. I thought he had a good game. Couple of times maybe was just sort of out of position perhaps, or was maybe a little bit naive in his positioning, shall we say. But overall, I think he had a good game, and it was a real shame to see him go off injured. I hope it's nothing too serious, that keeps him out long term, because I think he's a great option.
And then finally on team selection as well, Jordan Garrett came in from the start after his impressive sort of cameo against Forest Green. He made a real impact as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think there was any surprise that he was starting last night, to be honest. I think he more than earned it, and he looks to be a really good loan signing. He's just so proactive and aggressive and forward thinking. He just wants to get on it and get moving and get driving. And I think that's what we missed a bit of last season. And that's the last time I'm going to talk about last season.
And the first half, then, for me at the ground, it seemed that Oxford were pretty dominant in terms of territory and possession. They kept the ball really well with that McGuane and Lewis Bates in midfield. I thought they did really well. They made us work down our right back. TJ had a lot of work to do, which I thought he stood up well for. And Garrett and Scully were coming back and helping their respective fullbacks. The first half, then, Chris, like I said, I thought Oxford were a bit more dominant. What did you think?
I think it was fairly even. I think they had a lot of possession, but possession's only good if you do something with it. And I don't think they did a great deal with it. I don't remember them having, us feeling particularly threatened with their possession that they had, maybe once or twice, but nothing that I was, in comparison to the second half. I don't think they created or did a lot with that possession. And I think we closed them down brilliantly. That high press was, I think that's the first time we've seen it consistently throughout the whole of a first half. We've had patches of it in the last couple of games, but I just think we did brilliantly. That first half was aggressive. It was a real good high press. We didn't give them a great deal, despite the fact they were happy, knocking it about around the defence. But we can afford to let any team do that.
And without divulging my man of the match, the third man runs of Max Sanders, I thought were absolutely brilliant in that first half, causing
Yeah.
the holding midfielders all sorts of issues, and the centre backs didn't know what to pick him up. And ultimately, that sort of led to the first goal, didn't it? A Max Sanders run fell to the feet of Anthony Scully on the left hand side, and a perfect ball in. And there's captain Tom Hopper to score his second of the season. Great header, great goal, great move.
Outstanding, yeah. I think Sanders was outstanding throughout the whole 90 minutes or 90, 100 minutes, whatever it ended up being, because it was a long old bit of injury time. He was brilliant. He was picking up, particularly the first half, driving forward. He was picking up some amazing positions. He was a real threat. They couldn't seem to get any kind of grip on him at all. And I think that left side, Robson, Scully, and Sanders, who was playing on that left of the midfield, was really hard for Oxford to cope with. And like I say, that's where a lot of the best work came from, and it's where the goal came from. And Hops doing what Hops did best, and all he had to do was get that header on target, and it was going in those conditions, I'd imagine.
Yeah, really good scenes in the away end. Actually, I think it was 350 of us that went last night. So fair play if you were one of those that came. The second goal, not too dissimilar really. Max winning the ball high off the press, closing the midfielders down. Ball force to Scully, and then, I think Kennedy said after the Doncaster game that the goal that he scored against Doncaster, the tap-in, are the goals he needs to score more often. The goals that he scores against Charlton last season, against Cambridge, and then against Oxford last night, we know he can do that, and boy, did he do that well last night.
Beautiful finish, and I tweeted, and I'll hold my hands up. I've not been his staunchest defender. I've criticised him a few times, Scully, for being perhaps too selfish at times. But when that is the payoff, go for it, lad. We were watching it, and as he got the ball, and Sanders was very close, and he just peeled off him, and we were like, "Go on, feed Sanders," and then he cut back inside, and it was only one outcome, wasn't there? Beautiful finish, great goal. Fair play to him.
And then the second half, then I felt nervous as anything in the stands. I knew Oxford were a high-scoring team. They often start slow, but they've got goals in the team. You look at Matty Taylor, Billy Bowden in the team. McGuane can score. Cameron Brannigan, who ended up scoring. Oxford obviously came out. They had a bit of a stern word from Carl Robinson. He clearly had a bit of a, he let them know a few home truths in the dugout at half time. Oxford came out of a bit of a rocket, didn't they? They had to, and they really threw the kitchen sink at us, and all that pressure didn't really muster too many great opportunities. But the one they did get, the penalty. I'm back.
Back, Jake?
The penalty. I messaged you and thought it was soft. What was your view on the incident?
I try and avoid the soft penalty argument because it either is or it isn't a penalty. He pulled his shirt. Yeah, the guy's gone down like he's been poleaxed, but it was, for me, I'd have been screaming for a penalty if it had been in the other end of the pitch, and for us. So I think it was a penalty. And I think they crafted a couple of chances. I think there was a good header that probably they should have done better with before the penalty, and I think there was a cross that came in where someone at the back post just can't remember who it was, but
Billy Bowden.
Yeah, if it's got a touch on it, it's a goal. They came out and were a completely different side second half. But what I loved, in fact, was the resilience we showed. And I had a little bit of a Twitter exchange with an Oxford fan who said that apparently for 65 minutes we were shite, and I called him out a little bit and said, look, if you're going to call 45 minutes of outstanding defensive work shite, then that's, for me, not, that's really good football. And we were really resilient, really, bodies on the line, wasn't it? It was so committed. And I think it's quite clear to see that Kennedy has brought that group of players together and united them as one. And they are really showing that, particularly at the second half last night, that, they're fighting for each other. And there was only one deserved winner for me in that game. And that's not being rose-tinted and coming from me as a Lincoln City fan. I just think that first half we were brilliant, and I think if we hadn't have got that second from Scully just before half time, it would have been a very different story. But I just think that resilience and commitment we showed second half was superb. What was it like for you guys in the stands that second half? Because
a nightmare.
Pretty scary for us watching on the sofa.
It was a nightmare. I was absolutely terrified. I knew Oxford are obviously a very good side at this level, aren't they? And I knew they make chances for fun. And you just felt that every time the ball and with the weather, I mean, it might not have showed it on the camera, but it was pouring it down in Oxford. And you just thought the ball's going to slip in and they're going to get one, because Oxford tend, if you look at the goals that they score some pretty late goals, don't they? I just thought there might be another one for them. So thankfully, we went home happy. It was a big result. I think you could tell the size of the result when Regan, Paul, and Pordy O'Connor at the end of the game do a massive chest bump, and just massive. It feels like the passion is back, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. There's that connection within the team, that unity within the team, that going to just die for each other out on that pitch. And I think you have to credit Mark Kennedy with all of that, and with that passion and connection that's coming back with the fans. I was a big fan of Michael Appleton, but there's no disputing the fact that there was a bit of disconnect and a little bit of maybe a little bit passive in terms of the team dynamics. Didn't feel like the group were as one. It felt like there were pockets of groups rather than a group, if that makes sense. And I think what Mark Kennedy's clearly worked very hard on is, that team. We are one team. And that shone through so much that second half last night. And that, like you say, that moment when Pordy and Regan, I think they got a clearance out or something, and the chest bump, and it just fires everyone up, doesn't it? And we're a brilliant 3 points, a well-deserved but brilliant 3 points for me.
And one positive, I mean, I sort of blow the horn for Charlie Kendall all the time, Chris, as you know, but an EFL debut for Charlie Kendall, that's another positive to come out tonight, because I thought when he came on, he also did very well.
Yeah, very much so, yes. Closed them down, pressed them, made them make some of the mistakes that they were making in the first half defensively. They were doing some quite, uncomfortable trying to play out from the back moments in that first half, where I think Garrett a few times had closed them down and won us a throw in or a corner, or got us closer to goal. But he looked good, didn't he, Kendall, last night? I thought he's going to be certainly an exciting player to have in and around the team.
And a massive 3 points, Chris. We don't get a nosebleed, but we are into the top half of League One at the moment. Another positive result against Peterborough, and we're looking on for a good season, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think, I was looking at, I know it's 4 games in, it's not the time to be looking at the table, but I'm going to still look at the table because we're football fans and that's what we want to do. But if we win Saturday and results go our way, I texted you last night, we could go second. I just think we're unbeaten, aren't we? And there's a lot to be said for that when you think of the teams that we have come up against. And, everyone or not everyone, but a few people came away from the Exeter game thinking that was a disappointing point. And actually, you look how Exeter have done the last couple of games. Last night, again, they got a good result. That's a pretty good point to me. And it just, each game is giving us more to build on and more to feel hopeful for and look forward to and feel excited about. And we're not going to get completely carried away, but it's very hard to when you come away from a result like last night and the 3 points, first 3 points for Kennedy and the team of the season. And it just feels good, doesn't it? Everything feels really positive, and there's no elements of doom and gloom.
And there you have it, and that is this week's episode of the West End Imps show.
Jake, we haven't done man of the match yet. Who's your man of the match?
Sorry, of course I haven't. Man of the match, Chris, go for it quickly.
Well, I think yours was probably who I thought, but I'm changing mine, and I'm actually, because he came in for a bit of stick, and I thought he had a brilliant game offensively as well as defensively last night. So I'm going for Jamie Robson.
Jamie Robson, yeah, good shout. I went with Max Sanders. If I didn't give it away,
well deserved.
I definitely have now. Anyway, now we can close the show. This has been the fourth episode of the West End Imps Show. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. Big thank you to Chris for coming on whilst he's on holiday. We'll be back with another episode of this show on Sunday morning after the Peterborough game, so look forward to that. There's a podcast out on Friday, there's a preview out tomorrow on Thursday as well. All sorts of content coming your way, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled. Make sure you go and follow us both on Twitter, both of the links in the description as well. So yeah, thank you everybody else for watching. And Chris, one more thing to say: up the Imps.
Up the Imps. See you Saturday.